This Nintendo magazine page from the 90s features a strong focus on the Nintendo 64. The cover highlights World Cup '98, deemed a decent football game for its time. Yoshi's Story receives a playtest, and Mission Impossible gets a first play feature. Fighter's Destiny is promoted with a free player's guide, attempting to compete in the fighting game market. The magazine also includes a GameBuster section with extensive tips and screenshots, along with free extras like posters and a guide, all for a price of £2.50. The content reflects the era's focus on print media and providing value to consumers. This page is a full-page advert for Yoshi's Story on the Nintendo 64. Right at the top you've got the Nintendo 64 logo, can't miss that. Then it goes into the gameplay, sort of tongue-in-cheek. Eat fruit, lay eggs, save the world. It's pretty much Yoshi in a nutshell, isn't it? Underneath, big picture of Yoshi himself, looking quite pleased with himself. Then comes the game's logo, Yoshi's Story, with a tagline that is pure 90s marketing hype. A psychedelic surrealistic rumble pack jiggering crazy patchwork quilt of an adventure. Bit much even for back then, but it grabs your attention. They were really pushing the rumble pack back then, weren't they? And of course it's hatching this Easter, placing it in the release window. Right at the bottom there's the classic fastest most powerful games console on earth, claim for the N64, which, well, marketing, eh? It's a simple, visually striking ad, gets the point across. Yoshi's Story is coming to the N64, and it's gonna be something. Issue 67 of the Top 64 Mag, April 1998, focuses on the N64, fueled by World Cup '98 excitement. Content is divided into news, N64 plays, reviews and tips. News teases Nintendo updates. N64 plays features previews of Zelda 64, Ocarina of Time, Revolt and Mission Impossible. Reviews cover Yoshi's Story, Dark Rift, and NBA Pro. The Tip Center offers strategies for Duke Nukem 64, Bomberman 64, and WCW vs NWO. Other games highlighted include Banjo-Kazooie, Robotron 64, Wayne Gretzky's 98, and 1080, Snowboarding. The issue aims to cover a range of content, from anticipated titles to established games and gameplay advice. This is a review of International Superstar Soccer 98, IS 98, on the N64, a 3D football sim developed by Konami. Released in May 1998, it was marketed as an improvement over ISS 64, capitalizing on football fever due to the World Cup and Premiership season's end. The review highlights faster gameplay, improved celebrations, and excellent multiplayer features, with commentary by Tony Guba. The screenshots depict a Germany vs England match, with a focus on dramatic moments and classic football commentary. The review is confident about ISS 98's potential, even hinting at its superiority over World Cup '98. The article also mentions the other highly anticipated N64 games of the time, including Zelda 64, Ocarina of Time, Pokémon Stadium, and F-Zero X. This page of the magazine highlights the upcoming influx of N64 games, with editor Simon praising titles like World Cup '98, Mission Impossible, Yoshi's Story, and 1080 Snowboarding. Readers are encouraged to submit reviews. The magazine also reviews International Superstar Soccer 98, noting improvements to the AI, skill levels and animations. A new Game Boy emulator from Datel is introduced, allowing users to play Game Boy games on their 64. Furthermore, the page previews Pikachu in My Pocket, a Pokémon virtual pet, and concludes with a quiz featuring trivia about Nintendo games like Bomberman, Zelda, F-Zero, Rayman, and Banjo-Kazooie. The next page delves into a feature on the upcoming Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time for the N64. It's billed as Miyamoto's masterpiece, and blimey, back then we were all desperate to see if it would live up to the hype after Super Mario 64. They're highlighting some of the dangers and new weapons Link will have to use, like a boomerang, when exploring dungeons and castles, which are apparently full of booby traps and hidden monsters. Sounds like classic Zelda then. They've got some screenshots, showing Link battling enemies. One caption mentions using a staff to squash spiders, and another about using the boomerang to deal with traps in treasure chests, some of which might even explode. Cheeky. They're teasing new locations and weapons, and the article gushes about how detailed the villages in Zelda 64 are. April 98 for Japan is mentioned as the release date, which probably meant we Brits would be waiting a bit longer. Typical. 128 meg cart size. That was massive for back then, showing how epic this game was shaping up to be. It's all about building the anticipation for this Zelda game, which, let's be honest, we all knew was going to be a must-have. This page continues the Zelda Ocarina of Time hype, focusing on a brand new snowy location. Seems like Link's left the forests and dungeons behind for a bit and is having a jolly time in the ice and snow. They're calling it a frosty location never seen before, hinting at more Zelda secrets to uncover typical magazine teasing. There's talk about Link finding a strange structure in a courtyard, which turns out to be a bizarre ice sculpture. Apparently it's a triangular table thing with unicorn heads, each with different expressions. Bit odd, even for Zelda. One of the unicorn heads is even staring off into the distance, making you wonder what it's looking at. They reckon Link and Navi are bemused by it all, and are trying to figure out what magic is involved. Then there's a bit about using the boomerang again, showing Link testing a treasure chest to see if it's trapped. He throws the boomerang, it spins around, comes back unharmed, meaning the chest is safe to open. Good old boomerang, always reliable for those sneaky traps. They're pushing the idea of exploring rooms safely from hidden dangers, so it sounds like those booby traps are going to be a proper nuisance this time around. All in all, it's more tantalizing glimpses of what to expect in this massive Zelda game, really building up the anticipation. This text delves into the combat mechanics of The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. The game emphasizes a diverse arsenal beyond the sword, utilizing items like bombs, boomerangs, and a catapult, all assigned to the C buttons for easy access. Screenshots showcase Link using these weapons against enemies like Lizalfos. The exploration aspect is highlighted with Link following signposts and encountering spider enemies with pulsating eyes. Dungeons will present various challenges, including hordes of monsters like giant lizardmen and the Dondongo dragon, as well as environmental puzzles with animated stone statues requiring explosives to defeat. The article suggests a deep and engaging combat system, going beyond simple swordplay and incorporating strategic item usage. Give it some stick explores combat in The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Early on, young Link relies on his staff against enemies like wallmasters, employing tactics like dodging attacks and striking from below. Navi provides hints. Later, the page features a volcanic area where Link uses the sword, demonstrating the spin attack against rock golems. The screenshots show the visual effects of combat, with sparks flying off the golems as they take damage. The text highlights how players must adapt their combat strategies depending on the enemies encountered, showcasing classic Zelda action. This page takes a rather bizarre turn, doesn't it? We've got a woman who looks like she's about had enough, standing in what appears to be a bedroom. She's wielding a vacuum cleaner like it's some sort of weapon, and she's giving a proper "you what?" glare towards the camera. On the floor, scattered around, are some rather, shall we say, lads' mags. You've got Mayfair there, and Escort magazine in full view. One of them is even being held up by the vacuum cleaner nozzle, practically thrown in your face. It's all a bit suggestive, isn't it? I reckon this is some kind of joke about blokes who play too many games and neglect their cleaning duties, maybe hinting at the kind of magazines they might also be hiding under the bed. It's that sort of humor that was kicking about back then, a bit cheeky and in your face. Not sure what it's actually selling, perhaps just a bit of adult humor to keep the readers amused, you know, nudge nudge wink wink kind of thing. Definitely a change of pace from Link battling goblins, that's for sure. This page, well, it's a bit of a shift from the lads mag humor of the last page, isn't it? We're now looking at an advert for Oxy on the Spot Cream. It's plastered across the page, yellow background and all, with that classic 90s vibe. The tagline is something about whatever else puts you on the spot. It doesn't have to be spots, meaning like pimples, right? They're using the phrase "on the spot" in a clever way, get it? There's still that vacuum cleaner lurking in the corner, mind you. Seems to be a running theme throughout this magazine for some reason, or maybe just this section. Anyway, the adverts for getting rid of spots, embarrassing eruptions they call them, and promoting this new direct action treatment. So, if you're a teenager glued to your N64 and neglecting your personal hygiene, apparently Oxy's the answer to your prayers. Good to know they're catering to all demographics, eh? This article from the N64 era previews the excitement surrounding Pokémon Stadium and its use of the upcoming 64DD add-on. Pocket Dwellers Duel to Death highlights how the game would transform Game Boy Pokémon into 3D models on the N64, utilizing the 64GB pack memory expansion of the 64DD. The article boasts about vibrant graphics and the ability to bring your Game Boy Pokémon into the N64 world. It also hints at other 64DD plans, like Miyamoto's Cabbage Pet project. Oh, what's cool? section praises the game's features. Shortcuts reveal startup animations and a rumor of cheaper 64DD games compared to PlayStation SLADs. Finally, it mentions upcoming N64 games like Gauntlet Legends and Rakuga Kids, suggesting potential for the console's future. Shadow Man on the N64 is presented as a 3D adventure game aiming to differentiate itself from titles like Resident Evil and Tomb Raider. Players control Mike Leroy, a literature graduate turned assassin who becomes the voodoo warrior, Shadow Man, in a grim, interdimensional hunt for serial killers. The game features armies of voodoo monsters, a terrifying atmosphere, and aims for stunning 3D graphics. Gameplay includes encounters with both monsters and human enemies, including a redneck rampage segment. The swampy environments feature alligators, and the overall aesthetic is moody and action-oriented. The game appears to be carving out a niche in the horror action genre on the N64. Nintendo News is headlined by the fast-paced racer, F-Zero X. Showcasing in-game shots, the game promises intense speed and challenging tracks with blind corners and loops. Captain Falcon and his new ship are highlighted. In shortcuts, Virtual Chess 64 is slated for an April release. Daikatana's N64 release is delayed until late '99 and will utilize the Quake 64 engine. Some Racing News announces progress on Wipeout 64, the development of Carmageddon 2, and California Speed for the N64. Midway is also working on a yet unveiled futuristic racer. Overall, the focus remains on F-Zero X, with other updates to keep fans engaged. This page is a full-page advert for Fighter's Destiny on the N64. It's screaming from the rooftops that it's deadlier than the male, which is a bit of a strange tagline if you ask me, but hey, it's the 90s. It's got review quotes plastered all over it. Nintendo Magazine reckons it's an essential buy, and gave it a 90%, calling it, without a doubt, the best fighting game on the N64. Total 64 magazine went even higher with 93%, saying it's a game that can rival Tekken in terms of depth of gameplay, unlike any other, and that this, and only this, is the one you should buy. Bit strong lads, bit strong. There are a few screenshots of the game showing some blocky polygon fighters doing their thing. You've got the game's logo in a bold pixelated style, and logos for Imagineer, Genki, and Ocean, who must be the publishers and developers. Down at the bottom there's even a picture of the game box itself, if you needed any more convincing. This page is all about Banjo-Kazooie, which back then was Rare's big hope to knock Mario off his perch. Mario Beta they're calling it. Cheeky. It's in the news section, and 64 update, slapped on there to make sure you know it's for the cool new console. Looks like they're showing off more of the game, going on about how you play as both Banjo the bear and Kazooie the bird, working together. Apparently, in some swampy bits Banjo struggles to move, so Kazooie gives him a piggyback. Then there's something about slippery platforms where Kazooie is better with her talons. And for reaching high places, Kazooie can fly carrying Banjo. There are screenshots to go with all this, showing them in different bits of the game, in the swamp, on platforms, and flying around. They're making a big deal out of the two characters having to cooperate, saying it's different from your usual platformer where you're just one hero. Two become one is the heading for that section, bit dramatic. They mention it's set in the wilds of Tycross, wherever that is, sounds made up. Game type is listed as 3D platform game, release date July 1998 and cart size 64 meg. 64 meg, that was pretty hefty for back then. July 98. Yeah, that was around the time everyone was getting hyped for this one to see if it could actually live up to all the talk. Banjo-Kazooie is heavily promoting its new spring block mechanic, where Banjo must use these blocks for higher jumps. The game emphasizes precise jumping and teases potential falls. Classic platformer elements like puzzle pieces and musical notes are present, with screenshots showcasing Banjo's platforming skills. The game's full solution to reaching high areas is being kept secret for now. Pokémon Snap is also featured, with a sneak peek that labels it starting to look cool. It was initially unveiled for the 64DD, with the gameplay revolving around photographing Pokémon in a virtual safari park. Players use the 3D stick to move and take pictures, saving them to 64DD discs for sharing. Screenshots show a Meowth and two Pikachu. The game is scheduled for an autumn '98 release in Japan as a 3D photography game, and is listed as being on the 64DD, which didn't fare well. Wrecking Balls is a new N64 racer from Acclaim, scheduled for release in August 1998. The game features races with living, costumed balls, each with unique personalities. Players will navigate bizarre tracks, utilizing bouncing, grappling hooks and power-ups like pinball flippers. The game boasts a roster of characters, including QT, Charlie, and others, with courses set in desert, industrial, and candy-themed worlds. It promises wacky races, multiplayer support for up to 4 players, and dazzling speeds. The game is marketed as family-friendly, but its success remains to be seen. This page is a full-page advert for Tetrisphere on the N64. Right in your face, it's got that classic late 90s in-your-face style, proper brush colors, and 3D renders that looked cutting-edge back then, even if they're a bit ropey now. They're really pushing the mind-melting, cranium-cracking, and neuron-charged angle, which is a bit much, even for a Tetris game, but hey, marketing. It's called Tetrisphere, and the big selling point seems to be it's 3D Tetris, which, fair enough, was a bit of a novelty at the time. They're shouting about 3D graphics and trippy beats for 1 or 2 players. And if you've ever touched Tetris on the Game Boy, and let's be honest, who hasn't? They reckon you'll be hooked. There's a big silver disco ball thing in the middle, and these odd-looking characters that look like robotic plug sockets or something floating around. Very strange. Taboo. Down the bottom they've got a 96% rating, from 64 Extreme whoever they were, and the usual techie buzzwords: 64-bit power, 94 MHz speed, 3D environment, 2-player. It's priced at £39.99 RRP, which, thinking back, was probably standard whack for a new N64 game, maybe even a bit pricey, too. So yeah, Tetrisphere. They're really hammering home that it's the fastest, most powerful games console on Earth, which was the N64 tagline at the time, naturally. It's a bit over the top, but it was the 90s. Subtlety wasn't really the name of the game, was it? Bomberman Hero, a new N64 game from Hudson, aims to improve upon the previous Bomberman title. This time, it features a story. Queen Million is kidnapped, and Bomberman must rescue her. The game boasts cool 3D graphics, and various vehicles like a copter, slider, jet, and scuba pack, promising varied gameplay beyond simply bombing. It's categorized as a 3D platformer, and will be a 64-megabyte cartridge. The story involves Queen Million in a prison cell, and Bomberman's arrival. The release date was not yet announced. Overall, the game is a 3D adventure, with the potential to be better than its predecessor. Upcoming 64 games include Let's Smash and Tonic Trouble. Let's Smash from Hudson, the creators of Bomberman Hero, offers a nutty tennis simulation with real tournaments and outlandish courts like a volcano and skyscraper. It features 24 customizable characters with unique moves and 180 costume options. Tonic Trouble from Ubisoft is a 3D adventure game, potentially challenging Mario, featuring protagonist Ed and allies. It combines puzzle elements with platforming, including a glacier slide, and even features a guest appearance from Rayman. Tonic Trouble is due for a July release, while Let's Smash release date is still to be announced. Both games use a standard 64-meg cartridge. The Nintendo 64 charts reveal GoldenEye 007 as a UK chart topper, alongside titles like WCW vs. NWO and Diddy Kong Racing. Japan's top 5 includes 1080 and Diddy Kong Racing. The U6 chart mirrors the UK, with GoldenEye at number 1. The ONM Office chart features 1080 and GoldenEye. The magazine staff then lists their favorite action films based on their job descriptions, including titles like Con Air and Star Wars. Finally, the page includes answers to a quiz, explains the rating system, buy this game, for 90% plus, and announces a reader chart competition. The next page dives into the fundamentals of killing. It's lesson 3, mind you, all about the grenade launcher in Quake for the N64. It's got that classic Quake style, a bit tongue-in-cheek with the phrase, "If you feel warm raining chunks of sticky monster, that means you hit your target." Bit gruesome, even for Quake, but that was kind of the point back then, wasn't it? There's a diagram of the grenade launcher, referred to as Fig.C, and they point out it's good for short or medium range. Right at the bottom it mentions 2-player deathmatch, which is what Quake was all about really, fragging your mates. It's a full page spread, all about getting you excited to blow things up in Quake on your N64. Brings back memories of those late nights in the dark, eh? This page is a review for Yoshi's Story on the Nintendo 64. Big splash of colourful Yoshis all over the shop, looking as cute as buttons. Typical Nintendo fare really. It's flagged as a review right at the top, so you know what you're getting into. Down in the corner in a red box we've got all the info. Buy Nintendo, standard enough. Price is a hefty £49.99. Games were pricey back then, weren't they? Release date is down as 1997 and the 10th of April 1998. A bit confusing, but it's probably when it came out over here. Telephone number is there too, for ordering I suppose, old school mail order days. Game type is platform/exploration, which is spot on for a Yoshi game. Cart size, 64 meg, seems massive back then doesn't it? 1 player, and multiplayer modes, none. Yeah, Yoshi games were never really about multiplayer madness. Battery backup, yes, and memory pack, not used. Pretty standard stuff too. So yeah, it's a Yoshi story review page, all bright colors and happy dinos. Probably a bit of light-hearted platforming fun for the kids, maybe a bit simple for the hardcore gamer, but hey, gotta have something for everyone, eh? The text reviews Yoshi's story, highlighting its cute aesthetic and storybook presentation. It compares the game to its Super NES predecessor, Yoshi's Island, noting its visual appeal for the N64 era. The core gameplay revolves around completing worlds, maximizing scores, and achieving high replayability, with a focus on collecting everything in each level. The story involves Baby Bowser stealing the Super Happy Tree, prompting 6 colored Yoshis to embark on a journey to restore order. The game is structured like a storybook, with 6 pages, each containing 4 journeys. While players can quickly beat the game, the review suggests the real goal is to explore the levels thoroughly and collect all the hidden items. Screenshots showcase the game's charming design and the option to select from various Yoshi colors, implying the game is geared towards a younger audience while still offering a solid platforming experience. Takeaway. The Yoshi's story review highlights the dinosaur's expanded abilities. Egg production allows Yoshi to swallow enemies and create egg missiles. Egg launching fires these eggs, while tongue grapple enables climbing via sticky red balls. Yoshi can also swim underwater, use pound the ground to reveal secrets, and perform the classic flutter jump. New additions include sniffing, for finding hidden treasures, and favorite fruits, which replenish health based on a smile meter, and Yoshi's fruit preferences. A rare pale green melon is particularly valuable. The review also features a screenshot of Yoshi facing Baby Bowser, likely the final boss. The text emphasizes that this new adventure offers more than just simple jumping and running, showcasing a wider range of gameplay mechanics. Yoshi's story requires more than just collecting 30 fruits per level. Players must find special hearts hidden in secret areas and through mini-games. Collecting fruit is crucial to keep Yoshi happy. Different fruits offer varying mood boosts, and a pause screen displays Yoshi's mood score. Lucky fruit grants full health, while favorite fruit significantly boosts mood and health. Pale green melons are noted for massive score potential. Reaching certain hearts requires platforming skill. The text emphasizes that completing the game goes beyond defeating Baby Bowser, hinting at a deeper gameplay experience and the importance of exploration and completion beyond the final boss. Worry. Yoshi's story on the N64 features more than just fruit consumption. Yoshi can utilize egg saucer missiles by aiming and firing eggs, with up to 6 available. Different egg firing methods include direct targeting and the area effect explosive burst for dealing with crowds of colorful Shy Guys. Matching Yoshi's color to the Shy Guy yields bonus points, and ground pounding changes Shy Guy colors. The game also introduces Dino Pals. These include rideable aero snakes, the ability to become an egg with tulips to launch upwards, and hijacking Lakitu's cloud. Homing Chicken provides homing eggs. Collecting 6 of the same fruit grants a heart attack, providing temporary invincibility, an extended tongue, and unlimited eggs. Yoshi's story features quirky gameplay elements. Poochie, the returning dog, helps uncover secrets. Dragons serve as oversized lizards for crossing obstacles. Mr. Clown, a giant inflatable head, aids in reaching hidden fruit. White Shy Guys revive fallen Yoshis. Miss Warps allow for teleportation via head bouncing. The Black and White Yoshi Show highlights special monochrome Yoshis found in hidden eggs, granting a full happiness bonus. Finally, the Great Smell of Fruit ability allows Yoshi to sniff out hidden secrets, potentially revealing melons, coins, or other surprises. Yoshi's story featured secret challenges like the melon race, box stacking, and box shifting, offering extra melons as rewards. Mini-boss encounters required careful egg management or old-school platforming. The British version introduced new features, including an automatic save function and letter-shaped hidden coins. A visual cue, ! Indicated when Yoshi detected a secret. Post-completion, players could access trial mode to replay levels and find missed secrets, Save data required manual deletion in the options menu. The game encouraged players to explore and discover hidden content. Tabby. Standing at platform 64, focuses on platform games for the N64. The main review is for Yoshi's Story. Reviewer Paul Glancy initially found it simple, but appreciated the depth and secrets. He highlights the character nurturing aspect, a Nintendo hallmark, and gives the game high marks for originality, but lower for action. Graphics, sound, playability, and lastability receive strong percentages, leading to an overall score of 88%. Other platformers are briefly covered. Super Mario 64 remains the genre leader. Chameleon Twist is criticized for being too easy. Mischief Makers is hailed as a 2D surprise hit. Mystical Ninja is previewed. The article also hypes Banjo-Kazooie, suggesting it could rival Super Mario 64 with its advanced 3D graphics. This page is all about Mission Impossible on the N64, and blimey, they're making a big deal out of it. Apparently, it's been completely rehashed since they last showed it, which probably means it was a bit rubbish to begin with, but they're saying it's going to be massive now. They're even bragging about how hard it was to get a look at it. Harder than a Teletubby toy apparently, which I suppose is saying something. They've got a section called Shoot on Sight, which is pretty self-explanatory. Apparently, they've ramped up the action since the early previews, so now it's less sneaking around and more, well, shooting blokes. There are screenshots showing Ethan doing just that, sneaking around, taking aim, using a blowpipe. Bit of a weird weapon for a spy, in it, and then looting bodies. Charming. Sounds like standard spy stuff, really. Then there's a gadget habit section, because of course it wouldn't be Mission Impossible without the gadgets. They're highlighting the 9mm pistol, the blowpipe, and mines as some of the cool toys you'll be using. Pistol is standard fare, noisy, but lethal. Blowpipe is for being quiet, can't be detected by metal detectors apparently. And mines, well they're mines, cool and deadly, can be set off in different ways. All sounds fairly standard issue spy gear for the N64 generation if you ask me. Mission Impossible for the N64 is previewed, showcasing its 5 worlds and 20 levels. The first levels include Serpen, a training area where Ethan uses a scanner to find gear and eliminates guards stealthily, and Prague Embassy, where he must find a killer and escape, involving sneaking into restricted areas. The Russian embassy level focuses on protecting a computer expert, Candice. The article also highlights gadgets and weapons. The Uzi SMG offers rapid firing, but lacks accuracy. The dart gun allows for silent takedowns with sleep or poison darts, and the Facemaker copies faces for disguise, with the caveats that the foam melts. The game appears to be heavily inspired by spy movies, offering players a variety of spy tools. This article previews the N64 game, Mission Impossible. The showcase levels include the sewer, a platforming stage where Ethan must protect Candice while she downloads data. The things that make you go, boom, section highlights bomb planting mechanics, emphasizing trial and error gameplay. The hospital level sees Ethan escaping the CIA and seeking an antidote to a truth serum. The gameplay is described as similar to GoldenEye, but more focused on stealth and strategy, requiring players to think before acting. The article concludes with, I spy, hinting at more stealth gameplay elements to be revealed later. The game appears to be a thinking man's shooter, emphasizing spy tactics over all-out action. This advertisement from a late 90s computer and video game magazine, priced at £1.50, aggressively promotes the latest issue. The ad features contrasting games to entice a wide audience. Resident Evil 2, the horror event of the year, is prominently displayed, alongside Yoshi's Story, a vibrant platformer, and Gran Turismo, promising over 250 cars. The ad also highlights other titles, such as Demon House of the Dead Fighters, Destiny Bushido, Tiny Bushido with the tagline, "Some games are sick." The advert concludes with the cheeky slogan, "Once you've picked it up, you can't keep it down." World Cup 98 for the N64, previewed in a magazine, promised an early taste of the upcoming France 98 tournament. EA aimed to build hype, focusing on England's prospects. The game offered international teams, with screenshots showcasing team selection and gameplay. It aimed to challenge the dominant ISS-64. Notably, the game lacked official FIFA branding, opting for the Footix mascot. The intro music was Chumbawamba's Tub Thumping, aiming to get players excited. The review suggests a decent game for its time, with polygonal players and dramatic opening sequences. This page reviews World Cup 98 for the N64, highlighting its features and building anticipation for the game. The review emphasizes that this is EA's first football game featuring actual international teams, boasting realistic player inclusions like Rio Ferdinand, and the less celebrated Mark Draper. The game modes include Friendly, World Cup, with a randomized group option, Cup Classics, featuring retro finals in black and white, and Training. Fixtures for Group A and B are detailed with dates, times, and locations in France. Screenshots showcase gameplay and team selection screens. The review positions the game as a potential definitive football title for the N64, though it acknowledges the competition from ISS64. World Cup 98 aims to improve upon previous FIFA titles. New handicap options, dubbed player attributes and catch-up logic, are included to balance gameplay, making matches more competitive. Enhanced compression touch promises quicker and more responsive controls. Commentary gets a boost with Dice Lynam, John Motson, Gary Lineker and Chris Waddle, aiming for authenticity and a strong competitor to rival games. Goalkeeper AI is refined, promising smarter reactions, faster dives, and a harder challenge for goalscorers. The overall goal is to make World Cup 98 the definitive football game for the N64. Watch Exposure on the Rapture cable channel for a chance to win a 28-inch Sony TV and other prizes. The show, hosted by Stephanie and David, airs on Saturdays at 4 p.m. and Sundays at 2 p.m. Tune in around March 28th, 29th, or April 4th, 5th to be eligible. Exposure covers the latest in computer and video games, life and love, with a focus on the teen experience. To enter, watch the show, especially the Circuit Boardroom segment with game reviews, and then fill out and mail in a coupon. This is an old-school competition, so no online entries are available. Contact Rapture via their website or phone number for more information. Chesho. FIFA World Cup 98 for N64 touted new features focused on gameplay and team management. Enhanced skill moves, like the overhead flick, aimed to improve attacking options, while Save-A-Rama promised smarter goalkeepers. The game emphasized tactical control, with the It's in Your Hands section detailing lineup customization, formation adjustments, aggression settings, attack bias, and kick-taker assignments. Customize Player allowed for slight player appearance changes. A key addition was Tactical Switch, enabling on-the-fly tactic changes during matches. The page also included World Cup Group C and D match schedules, listing venues and kickoff times to build anticipation for the virtual tournament experience. This page is a full-on advert for Wayne Gretzky's 3D Hockey 98. Remember that one? They're making a big deal about Gretzky facing himself, implying you're playing as the legend himself, which is a bit of a boast, even for the great one. The advert copy talks about his career records, saying they captured his speed, moves, and cunning in the game. Cunning in hockey? Bit strong, more like skillful, eh? It mentions it's not just a game, it's an NHL war zone, with active trading and player stats cards, and a new simulation mode that even Gretzky himself might struggle with. Bit of a stretch, maybe. At the bottom, there's the usual logos. GT Interactive, who published it, Nintendo 64 obviously, plus the NHL and NHLPA logos for official licensing, and Midway, who were clearly involved somehow. There are a couple of tiny screenshots showing some in-game action. Looks pretty typical for N64 hockey at the time. All in all, a pretty standard hype piece trying to make out like this is the ultimate hockey sim, but back then, everything was the ultimate something or other, wasn't it? This magazine preview of World Cup 98 for the N64 highlights its key features. Don't Get Shirty focuses on accurate, detailed kits, including cloth-like textures and dirt effects. Wave Your Hands in the Air describes lively goal celebrations, with players expressing emotion and piling on. Finally, ONM Dream Teams presents 3 staff-picked squads. Schoen's team has a strong midfield. Simon's team features more flair with Beckham and Gascoigne. Tim's squad is criticized for repeating players and being biased towards goalkeepers. The preview uses screenshots of the game, hyping its details like the kits and celebrations, aiming to present it as the most sophisticated football game. This page delves deeper into International Superstar Soccer 64 and its World Cup 98 mode, building on the previous page's hype about kits and celebrations. It's got a section called A Question of Sport, which is a clever touch. Apparently at halftime they throw in football trivia questions. It's a bit of a gimmick, but in '98, this kind of thing was a novelty. They reckon there are around 8,000 questions, bit overkill if you ask me, but fair play for the effort. Then there's They've Thought of Everything, which is laying it on thick. They're really pushing the boat out, saying it's like being in France for the World Cup without actually going. It's boasting about a complete fixture list, all the match timings being spot on and even weather effects. Pitch wear and tear? Come on, it's a bit much, even for back then. Still, they are trying to sell it as the definitive World Cup game, fair enough. The page is packed with match fixture tables for groups E, F, G, and H, showing all the teams and kickoff times in different French cities. They've got screenshots showing off the in-game action, which looks alright for the N64, I suppose. Overall, this page is hammering home the detail and features of ISS64, trying to make it sound like the most comprehensive footy game ever made. Bit of a stretch perhaps, but that's marketing for you. This page is packed with retro gaming tips and cheat codes, reminiscent of classic gaming magazines. A Win with Wario contest encourages readers to submit tips for a chance to win prizes. The focus is on Super NES and Game Boy classics like Yoshi's Island and Zelda, A Link to the Past. The magazine dives into specific games, including Mortal Kombat Mythologies, Sub-Zero on N64, which receives a scathing review. Fighter's Destiny on N64 gets some love with unlock codes for characters Robot and USHI the Cow, a true testament to the unlockable craze of the time. Finally, Cruisin' USA on N64 offers stage select cheats, allowing players to instantly access specific tracks. This page offers cheat codes for classic Nintendo 64 games. For Top Gear Rally, unlock hidden cars, tracks, and wacky vehicles like the Helmet Car and Ice Cube Car using button combinations in arcade mode. WCW vs NWO World Tour provides instructions to play as bosses and unlock wrestlers like Diamond Dallas Page, Glacier, and Wrath, requiring completion of league challenge or specific match victories. Dark Rift, a fighting game, features cheats to play as bosses and characters like Snork and Dimitron, all entered at the title screen. These codes help players access hidden content and save time on unlocking game features. The next page delves into cheat codes for a couple more 64 games. First up is Duke Nukem 64, remember that one? All about blasting pig cops and octobrains, proper lads game back then. Apparently, if you're struggling on a Duke level, they've got the cheats for you. To get the cheat menu up, it's the usual button combo nonsense. D, PAD left, left shoulder, left, D, PAD up, D, PAD right, left shoulder, D, PAD left, and D, PAD left, and D, PAD up. Once you're in there, you can get level select, toggle monsters on and off, invisibility, toggle items, and even mess with the damage. So if you were ever stuck on Duke, there you go. Jenna. Below that, it's War Gods. Now War Gods was a bit of a Mortal Kombat wannabe fighter, wasn't it? Not exactly a classic, but they've got cheats for it anyway. On the title screen, you can get free play mode, so endless credits for you. There's also a cheat menu in there somewhere, and if you really wanted to play as some of the less inspiring characters, they've got codes to play as Exa and Grox, who are, let's be honest, a bit on the ugly side. The magazine even says the fighters are crap. Bit harsh, but they were no Tekken, that's for sure. They reckon these cheats will help if you regretted buying War Gods in the first place, which is a pretty damning indictment if you ask me. This Tips Center page offers cheat codes and glitches for classic games. For GoldenEye 007, there's a remote mine trick in Seven-Eye Bunker, a flag-holding glitch in Archives flag tag, and an invisibility cheat achieved through stealth. Super Empire Strikes Back, SNES, gets a level skip code activated at the title screen, confirmed by Darth Vader. Prince of Persia, SNES, has a level select code using the password special. Lastly, Yoshi's Story, N64, provides instructions for unlocking extra levels and changing cookies into monsters through a series of button presses in the level select. This section features gaming cheats for various titles. In FIFA, Road to World Cup 98 on N64, timing a header button press against the goalie can guarantee a goal. Clay Fighter 63 and a third on N64 includes move lists for several characters like Kung Pao and Earthworm Jim, with control key explanations. Lastly, for Zelda, Link's Awakening on Game Boy, players can shoplift by quickly circling the shopkeeper, though there are consequences. There's also a tip on finding a secret area in the Nightmare Room using specific items. Icky. This advertisement from Special Reserve, a classic mail order and shop chain, highlights Nintendo 64 deals from the late 90s. They're promoting bundles like the Pro Pack and offering a pay later 0% option for purchases over £250. The ad showcases a wide selection of N64 games, including GoldenEye, Mario Kart 64, and Zelda, Ocarina of Time, along with accessories like controllers and memory cards. Cheat books for N64 games are available, reflecting the pre-internet era. Some Super NES games and Pocket Game Boys are also advertised. A special Reserve Club membership for £6 a year includes a free gift such as a memory card or headphones. This advertisement, with an expiry date of April 1998, reflects a bygone era of gaming. They had shops in various locations including Bristol, Egham, Chelmsford and Nottingham. The Hot Help section of the magazine features gaming advice. A player needs help finding weapon orbs in Secret of Mana, SNES. Another seeks the boomerang and bird key in Legend of Zelda, Link's Awakening, Game Boy. Urban Strike, SNES. Players get level passwords, though Mission 9's is missing. Finally, A Shadow of the Empire, N64. Player needs help navigating the cargo bay. The page encourages using Nintendo hotlines for further assistance, at 50 per minute, and lists some of the staff. Overall, it's a classic guide for resolving gaming problems without the internet. Hot Help offers gaming tips across various platforms. Super NES players get help with Super Mario World, Valley Ghost House Key, Yoshi's Island, bonus minigames and stage select, Donkey Kong Country 2, Toxic Tower using Rattle, and Super Ghouls and Ghosts, stage select. In beat-em-ups, Mortal Kombat 3 Advice covers Liu Kang's bicycle kick, and Killer Instinct Gold has a list of danger moves. Wave Race 64 on 64 offers a dolphin ride cheat through stunts and button combinations. Finally, Calling Moonbase Nintendo provides contact info for reader questions and the Nintendo hotline, with a reminder to get permission before calling. This guide reveals 3 hidden levels in Duke Nukem 64, Lunatic Fringe, Area 51, and Duke Burger. To access Lunatic Fringe, jump through a monolith in Dark Side, blast a wall, and follow the passage. Area 51 requires finding a studio in the movie set level, opening a tunnel, and navigating to an alien control room. Lastly, to reach Duke Burger in Gun Crazy, hop on a platform behind metal doors, find a crate, and blast a wall. Enter Duke Burger via the blue card entrance, then navigate through the bathroom vent, kitchen, and storeroom to obtain the red access card. This guide details the freeway level walkthrough for Duke Nukem 64. To reach freeway, players must navigate Hotel Hell and top offices, then blow up palm trees to reveal the entrance. The level begins with exploring the water, entering through a cracked wall, and clearing the dark street. Finding the blue card involves a leaning skyscraper. After obtaining the blue card, players ride a lift, use a conveyor belt, and flip a switch to find the red access card. The red card opens the exit behind a police car. The guide also mentions the meat locker area, conveyor belts, and a switch in an office to access more streets and battle pig cops. The level culminates with a warning about a pig cop by the exit. A non-gaming advertisement, unrelated to the game, is also present. This guide focuses on the first 2 levels of Bomberman 64, offering an in-depth walkthrough of Green Garden Stage 1. It acknowledges the game's transition to 3D, possibly losing some of its 2D appeal. The guide begins with quick tips, covering bomb pumping, collecting gold cards, affected by hard mode, and seeking advice from Sirius. The walkthrough itself details finding green plates and red bombs, utilizing numbered steps with screenshots. Players will blast pots, solve puzzles involving pillars and waterfalls, and navigate warp zones and ledges. The guide seems to be designed for beginners, easing them into the game while setting the stage for the expected collectible hunt. This guide excerpt offers tips for Bomberman 64. It starts with the warp room, detailing how to acquire super bombs using bomb types and pillar manipulation. Stage 1 focuses on collecting gold cards, guiding players through environments and puzzles. Stage 2's boss, Sirius, is easily defeated by spamming bombs. Finally, Stage 3, Green Garden, involves collecting diamonds and blue crystals using environment navigation and avoiding bird enemies. The guide maintains a simple approach, perfect for new players, with a random aside about a London Beware image and a dog named Ralph. This guide offers tips for a puzzle action game, likely Bomberman 64 or a similar title. It focuses on collecting gold cards and defeating a boss named Draco. The gold cards, Stage 3, Section details using remote bombs to reach higher blocks and collect cards, utilizing classic bomb jumping techniques. The Draco boss level guide advises players to target Draco's wings, tail, and head with bombs to defeat him. Blue Resort, Stage 1, explains how to lower a drawbridge by manipulating water levels via bombs, navigating rooms, and solving platforming puzzles. Finally, the Gold Cards, Stage 1, guide details using remote and pumped-up bombs on pots, cannons and bridges to find more gold cards, emphasizing creative bomb usage for puzzle solving and collecting hidden items. This guide continues the Bomberman 64 walkthrough, covering boss battles and stages. Artemis requires strategic bomb placement for a gold card reward. Blue Resort Stage 3 presents water-based puzzles involving drawbridges and statues. Gold card hunting continues with cryptic clues to solve. The Leviathan boss demands a multi-stage battle, including targeting its mouth, tentacles, and tail on a raft. Next month's guide previews Red Mountain and White Glacier. A side advertisement promotes a new Donkey Kong game, with the tagline, "George is about to go ape," with Nintendo's approval for all tips. This page, then, is a bit of all-right wrestling action from WCW vs NWO World Tour on the N64, featuring the one and only Hollywood Hulk Hogan. It's shouting about mastering the most bone-crunching moves, which, let's be honest, back then felt pretty darn bone-crunching in glorious polygonal 3D. They're giving you the lowdown on Hulk Hogan's stats: 17.1, 9 stones and 6'7". Blimey, he's a big lad. And of course, his signature move is the top rope stinky leg drop, a classic. They even show you how to pull it off: move to the turnbuckle and mash down knock. Simple as that. And there's the top rope clothesline too, holder for a grapple, then tap again and wham, down he goes. The write-up itself is pretty hyped, saying hundreds of brutal moves await, and that it's a great game to watch and play. They're even saying your granny will be glued to the telly, although I reckon my nan preferred a bit of countdown myself. It's all about focusing on wrestling stars this month and pulling off devastating attacks. Good stuff for a bit of N64 button bashing with your mates. Oh, and right at the top there's a Win with Wario banner, presumably another competition or feature they're running in the mag. Seems like a decent bit of wrestling game coverage for the time. This page of the WCW vs NWO World Tour coverage focuses on Sting, Buff Bagwell, and Chris Benoit. It provides wrestler stats in British measurements and details their signature moves. For Sting, the Scorpion Deathlock and DDT/Face Crusher combos are explained. Buff Bagwell's Manhattan Drop and Fisherman's Suplex button inputs are outlined. Chris Benoit, aka the Crippler, has his diving headbutt and monkey flip moves broken down. The article also briefly previews Rampage World Tour, noting its building smashing, people eating gameplay and confirming its N64 release. This magazine page shifts focus to individual wrestlers in the WCW vs NWO World Tour game. It profiles Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko and Eric Bischoff, providing their stats, height, weight, and signature moves. Eddie Guerrero is highlighted for his versatility, showcasing the Frog Splash, Frankenstein, and Face Rake. Dean Malenko, a technical wrestler, is featured with the Texas Cloverleaf and reverse armbar. Eric Bischoff, surprisingly a brawler in the game, has a headlock punch and face rake. Each wrestler's moves are detailed with accompanying screenshots. The page embodies the 90s magazine style, complete with an intense wrestler close-up, and a note confirming the tips are checked by Nintendo. This page from WCW vs NWO World Tour highlights 3 wrestlers: Kevin Nash, Giant, and Rey Mysterio Jr. Kevin Nash, a 71 member of the NWO, is known for his jackknife powerbomb and unique comedy fighting style. Giant, even larger at 74, relies on the choke slam and choke hold. Despite being only 25, he was a former WCW World Champion. Rey Mysterio Jr., a high-flying cruiserweight, is the smallest of the 3 at 56. His signature move is the Huracan Rana Pin, and he's considered an exciting wrestler to watch. Each wrestler's moves are detailed with screenshots and button combos, including standard fighting game mechanics like a special gauge. This page reviews Donkey Kong Land 2 on the Game Boy, capitalizing on the popularity of the Donkey Kong Country series. It offers a guide to help players, referencing Rare, the game's developers, as gaming legends. The content includes a level map for Total Recoil, with locations for collectibles like bonus barrels, DK coins, and the Kong letters. Specific level tips are provided for Coco Channel, focusing on platforming elements like jumping on enemies and utilizing warp barrels. The guide also details how to defeat the boss Barbos in Barbos Station by exploiting his weak points. The page assures credibility by stating that Nintendo checked all the tips. Puerto Nufo. This text provides level maps and tips for 2 stages in Donkey Kong Land 2 on the Game Boy, Liftschaft Lottery, and Coral Quarrel. The guide highlights the locations of collectibles like bear coins, DK barrels, and the Kong letters, as well as bonus barrels. Liftschaft Lottery focuses on a bonus barrel achieved by precise platforming. Collecting all stars in the bonus stage earns a bonus coin. Coral Quarrel offers similar advice for finding collectibles, including an invisible extra life and barrels for Onguard and Squitter. The text suggests the guides are aimed at newer players, with more experienced gamers likely already knowing the tips. Nintendo has checked the provided tips, and the next issue promises more level guides. This month's Classic Corner focuses on Super Mario 64. The article provides tips for several levels, starting with Dire Docks. Players struggling with the red coins in Star 3 need to defeat Bowser in the Fire Sea first. Next, for Snowman's Land, if Mario loses his cap after being blown off the mountain, it can be found inside the ice building or recovered by making a snowman dizzy. Wetry World's Go to Town for red coins requires players to cannon themselves from the cage, find a passage to the town, drain the water, and then wall kick to reach the coins. Lastly, for Tall Mountain's Mystery of the Monkey, players must ascend to the summit, free the monkey, who then drops the star near the waterfall. The magazine assures that all tips are vetted by Nintendo. This Classic Corner section covers Super Mario 64. For Tiny Huge Islands, pluck the piranha flower, become Big Mario, enter the left painting, become Tiny Mario, and defeat 5 piranha plants. Tick-tock clocks stomp on the thwomp requires entering the clock at 5 minutes past the hour, then navigating the tower and jumping over the thwomp. For Rainbow Rides, Somewhere Over the Rainbow, use the cannon to shoot through the rainbow circle to a floating island. General questions address Tiny Huge Island's itty-bitty secrets, listing 5 locations to stand as Big Mario to trigger a number appearance. The Red Switch Palace is accessed via a shaft of sunlight in the castle lobby after collecting 10 stars. The locked cannon outside the castle requires all 120 power stars. Catch the rabbit in the sewers for a star appears at less than 50 stars, and again at more than 50. A hotline is available for further assistance. This is a retro gaming competition page centered around N64 bragging rights. The Premier League features Diddy Kong racing leaderboards, highlighting top times from readers on various tracks like Ancient Lake and Fossil Canyon. Players, including Adam, Jason, and Daniel, are competing for a prize. There are 3 challenges. Challenge 1 is GoldenEye 007 on Silo in Agent mode, seeking the fastest time and a new cheat. Challenge 2 focuses on Mario Kart 64, with fastest times on Royal Raceway and Moo Moo Farm. Challenge 3 invites players to submit their best Diddy Kong racing times on any track and vehicle. Small, pixelated screenshots accompany each challenge. The page encourages players to keep submitting scores for a chance to claim the title of Top N64 Gamer, reminiscent of classic gaming days. This page celebrates N64 gaming with leaderboards and challenges. Lilat Wars, Star Fox 64, features a kill count leaderboard, currently led by Tatu. Top Gear Rally highlights the fastest time on Strip Mine, with Jason LaRosa in the lead. Mario Kart 64 showcases Royal Raceway times, PAL Karts only, with David McComb at the top. Take Your Pick provides photo submission guidelines. Challenges include Top Gear Rally track times and Lilat Wars kill counts, requiring photographic proof. Other games featured are Nagano Winter Olympics 98 and Snowboard Kids. A final call for scores invites readers to submit their best N64 achievements to Nintendo Magazine by April 5, 1998, for possible recognition in the magazine. No. NHL Breakaway 98 for the N64 aimed to provide a hardcore hockey simulation, a potential alternative to Wayne Gretzky's 3D hockey. Utilizing the same technology as NFL Quarterback Club, the game promised impressive graphics, motion-captured player movements, and detailed attention, including readable player names and realistic hockey actions. The AI was touted for its intelligent gameplay, with teammates reacting to the on-ice situation. Screenshots showcase the classic N64 aesthetic. Released in April 1998 by Acclaim, the game supported 1 to 4 players, with a 2-player multiplayer option and a battery backup. It was priced at £54.99 and was attempting to establish itself as a serious hockey simulation. NHL Breakaway 98 for N64 is presented as a more realistic alternative to Wayne Gretzky's 3D hockey, emphasizing a slower, more strategic gameplay style. The game features official NHL licenses, including real teams, lineups, and game modes such as Exhibition, Season, and Playoffs. The review includes a spotlight on Keith Tkachuk, the game's endorser, and his player bio. Additionally, the review assesses older NES ice hockey games. Brett Hull Hockey and Stanley Cup received relatively high scores. NHL 97 on the Super NES was especially praised. The reviewer seemed to suggest that NHL 97 might be the superior choice for a fun ice hockey experience. NHL Breakaway 98 for the N64 offers impressive management features for its time. Players can edit lines, set team strategies, manage rosters through trades, and even hire/fire coaches to enhance team skills. Injuries necessitate using the trainer's room. The game includes necessary roughness, featuring fighting and penalty situations. The review awards a 65 for graphics, despite realistic quality, an 84 for sound, praised for organ tunes and crowd sounds, and high marks for playability, 86, and lastability, 88. The overall score is 88%, making it a top-tier sports game. The reviewer, Sean White, highlights its appeal for hockey fans and strategy enthusiasts, even drawing comparisons to other classic N64 titles. This advertisement promotes a subscription offer for the official Nintendo magazine from April 1998. Subscribers could get 12 issues for the price of 9, plus free delivery, saving £7.50. The ad showcases cover art featuring games like Mario, Zero, Your Starters, for new N64 owners, and Quake, highlighting the console's evolution. Included with the magazine were free gifts, such as Fighter's Destiny, and a FIFA 98 book, aligning with the popular World Cup. The ad also highlights game tips for Donkey Kong Land 3, Diddy Kong Racing, and the multiplayer classic GoldenEye 007. The offer was valid until April 30, 1998, transporting readers back to a time of anticipation for new Nintendo games. Dark Rift for the N64, finally released in the UK after import delays, receives a lukewarm review. The reviewer, already weary of N64 beat-em-ups, cautiously approaches the game. While the screenshots are passable, with camera zooms and ice-cool lighting, the initial impression fades. The game offers basic versus battle and tournament modes. The story involves Sonok Nizam seeking a key, a typical fighting game trope. Gameplay features characters like Nikki, Morphix and Scarlet, with weapon effects and sidestepping using the Z-trigger. The game features 12 characters, multiplayer modes, and is a 64 meg cart without memory features. Priced at £49.99, the review doesn't strongly recommend the game, hinting at it being a generic fighter. Dark Rift's characters are a mixed bag. Colonel Maverick, a karate expert with a shotgun, and Eve, a fencing android with an argon laser saber, offer unusual concepts. Scarlet Zerai uses a large sword, while Morphix is a liquid being with energy blades. Demonica Gricrux is described as unpleasant, while Nikki, the jungle princess, utilizes rings. Gore, an armored warrior, wields a battle axe and projectiles, and Zenmuron, a tall armored figure, uses a long sword. Each character has special moves with generic fighting game names. Overall, the diverse cast feels somewhat generic, reinforcing the game's attempt at originality falling a little short. Dark Rift for the N64 is reviewed as an average fighting game, despite the headline boasting all the right fighting moves. The gameplay, described as more complex than Fighter's Destiny due to button combinations, features standard fighting game controls. Screenshots showcase characters like Nikki performing special moves. Kadia. The reviewer, Paul Glancy, criticizes the game's depth, citing minimal character differences and clunky controls for combos. While acknowledging some visual strengths, he finds the game underwhelming and suggests Fighter's Destiny is a better alternative. The scoring reflects these criticisms, with middling scores across various categories. Graphics and sound receive decent scores, but playability and lastability are lower. The overall score is 73%. The review concludes that Dark Rift is a forgettable fighting game, yearning for Capcom's return to the Nintendo platform. The next page is a blast from the past, an advert for a sports magazine called Sported. Blimey, this takes me back. It's plastered with magazine covers featuring all the big names from back then. We've got Zola in his Chelsea kit, Tim Henman wielding a tennis racket, Prince Nazim looking all confident, and Damon Hill flashing a smile. They've even got Michael Jordan, Mike Tyson, David James and Les Ferdinand in there, all the sporting gods of the time. The advert is shouting about Sported being the flashiest sports magazine out, which, fair play, it probably was back then. It's got that loud, in-your-face 90s style. They are pushing the fact it's on sale every 2 weeks for just a quid bargain. Looks like they're trying to grab your attention with all the big sports stars and promise you all the sports facts and results you could ever need. A proper lad's mag for sports, I suppose. Nothing too deep, just pure sports entertainment. Reminds you of simpler times when you'd actually buy magazines from the newsagent, doesn't it? Before the internet ruined everything. NBA Pro 98 for the N64 is reviewed. The reviewer, noting a bias towards taller players in basketball, hopes this game allows smaller players to shine. Praising Konami's attempt to improve N64 basketball games after the sillier NBA hangtime, the review highlights the game's features. You can choose from 29 NBA teams and play in exhibition, playoffs, all-star, and season modes with up to 4 players. The graphics are typical N64 blocky, but are said to enhance gameplay. The game details note it's a sports sim with various multiplayer modes, a 64 meg cart, and a memory pack. Released at £54.99, the review is cautiously optimistic, suggesting the game might be a decent option for basketball fans despite its dated graphics. This page delves deeper into NBA Pro 98, giving us a bit of a gameplay guide. It starts off with a section called Robbie Fowler, which is a bit of alright, talking about free throws. Apparently if you get fouled you get a free shot obviously, and it uses a shooting gauge. Hold the 3D stick back to set distance, and then try to stop the bar in the center. For accuracy seems pretty standard stuff for the time, really. It does say hitting near the center gives you a better chance of scoring. Groundbreaking stuff there, eh? Then there's Trigger Happy, which explains the new control system. They've reworked the traditional controls, so it might take a bit of getting used to, they reckon. Apparently, holding down Z trigger lets you run, and the Cry buttons are for fancy moves like fakes, pivots, steals and rebounds. They seem to be pushing this Z-trigger run thing as a big feature. It mentions that in real basketball, players jog around, but in this game, you only run when you're trying to get into space for a shot, which, fair enough, makes sense for a game from '98. It's all about accuracy, they're saying. So yeah, looks like they're trying to make NBA Pro 98 a bit more sim-like than your average arcade basketball title. The review of NBA Pro 98 details the game's shooting mechanics, highlighting the dunk shot, fade away, and clutch dunk as ways to enhance gameplay beyond simple button mashing. The review also praises the game's official NBA license, emphasizing its realism and depth. Players can access detailed statistics and enjoy varied camera angles, enhancing the immersive experience. The screenshots showcase prominent players like Dennis Rodman, Scottie Pippen, and Shaq, further promoting the game's commitment to a realistic NBA simulation. NBA Pro 98 on the N64 offers a deep basketball experience. Key features include the Hand of God, allowing custom player creation, and Championship Manager for team management and trades. Screenshots showcase player editing and in-game action. Reviewer Tim Street praises its realism, despite some camera angle issues. The game features a wealth of gameplay and stats. Scores are high, with graphics at 88%, sound at 85%, playability at 88%, and lastability at 88%. The overall score is 85%. The review highlights strong graphics, decent sound, and accessible yet deep gameplay. The magazine recommends it as a challenging and engaging basketball title for N64 fans, with season and playoff modes adding replay value. Club Mario, the Nintendo 64 letters page, features opinions on various games. John O'Kane slams Diddy Kong Racing, prompting ONM to defend it. Stuart Andrews laments the N64's game selection compared to PlayStation, but ONM assures him the situation is improving. Jason Furlong champions the N64's superiority, prompting ONM to acknowledge Sony's marketing advantage while highlighting upcoming games. A dissatisfied Diddy Kong Racing purchaser also voices their disappointment. Prizes for letter writers and a Reader's Wimbledon shirt with Nintendo 64 are also mentioned. This month's Club Mario letters feature varied opinions. Cameron and Neil debate 64-bit consoles, with ONM affirming the N64's dominance. Ben dislikes player guides, preferring more previews. ONM defends their popularity. Andrew expresses concern about Pokémon overshadowing Mario, fearing a shift away from the classic franchise, particularly with the upcoming 64DD. ONM reassures him acknowledging Miyamoto's view on new gamers, but emphasizing Mario's continued importance. The picture of the month features fan art, including a Tomb Raider 64 drawing and a character mashup, with Acclaim offering a copy of Forsaken for the best contributions. This Club Mario page features reader letters and game news. Reader Spice Games reviews a potential Simpsons N64 game, with fun minigames. Tomorrow Never Comes discusses a reader's disappointment that the new James Bond game is only on PlayStation, with the magazine hinting at a potential N64 release. Take Your Time addresses game delay complaints, with the magazine agreeing quality is better than rushing out a bad game. Popularity Contest examines why PlayStation is popular, despite a reader's preference for N64, with the magazine citing advertising and N64 delays. Finally, Standing Proud sees a reader unhappy with the N64's game library, prompting a strong response from the magazine listing many excellent titles. The page concludes with news of a Mega Drive and 32X being reviewed. Dinged. This letters page features reader opinions and critiques, opening with a humorous Darth Vader cartoon. Trash Talk defends the N64 against a reader's PlayStation praise, arguing for its superior graphics, controller, and game library. Age Concern addresses a parent's concerns about Duke Nukem 64's violence, supporting the game rating system. Send Him Back and The Real Deal poke fun at Seal, a columnist seemingly replaced by Mario. Seal's Most Wanted sparks debate on classic N64 topics like Diddy Kong Racing vs Mario Kart 64 and Mario's modernization. Finally, a Name That Game crossword puzzle challenges readers with game titles across various genres. Robotron 64 is a 64-bit update of the arcade classic, set in 2084, where rogue robots terrorize humanity. Players take on the role of a genetically engineered hero, battling through single-screen levels filled with non-stop shooting action. The goal is to rescue humans while eliminating robots, with speed being crucial for survival. The game features 3D graphics and includes elements like rescuing laser-proof humans and earning bonus points for saving clones. The review highlights the arcade-style gameplay, avoiding unnecessary complications. Developed by Crave Entertainment, Robotron 64 is a shoot-'em-up supporting 1 to 2 players. The game utilizes a memory pack for saving progress. Released in the US, the game's availability in other regions may have been delayed, suggesting it was likely imported and potentially expensive. Overall, it's presented as a solid retro experience for fans of the genre. This guide offers tips for excelling in Robotron 64 on the N64. Bonus stages appear every 20 levels, providing opportunities to earn extra lives through accurate shooting. The game features power-ups, like shields, enhanced firepower, speed boosts, and a flamethrower, crucial for survival when overwhelmed by robots. Electrode enemies, though seemingly harmless, zap players, but are easily eliminated and can be strategically utilized later in the game. The N64 controls utilize the analog stick for movement and the C buttons for firing in 8 directions, while shoulder buttons adjust the camera angle. The guide concludes with humorous arcade-style captions and overall provides valuable tips to improve gameplay. This page reviews Robotron 64, highlighting its enemy variety, grunts, hulks, etc., and challenging gameplay. Screenshots show impressive scores, though there's some confusion about the levels. The article then speculates on N64 revamps of classic games. They suggest Football Manager, with a basic mock-up, a return of Hypersports, a 3D Defender, and a 64D de-enhanced Manic Miner. Finally, a 64 view section features Sean White, who praises Robotron 64 for its challenging gameplay and nostalgic appeal, suggesting it will appeal to both returning fans and new players. The overall tone is one of nostalgia and imagining classic game updates. Warrington Mayan, Jeshen. This advert-filled page showcases various vendors targeting retro gamers. Gamsters advertises discounted games and trade-ins for Nintendo 64, PlayStation and Saturn consoles. N64 Device and Peripherals offers signal conversion and repair services, along with overpriced N64 and PlayStation games. Console Exchange facilitates trading in old consoles for cash or new items. Skill imports Nintendo and PlayStation items, with N64 consoles priced at £144.99, and lists various games. Finally, a bizarre advert for manga videos, featuring intergalactic butt-kick Earth Defender content, rounds out the page's offerings. The overall impression is a collection of sellers competing for customers' attention and money. This page advertises N64 bundles called Master Blaster Packs, featuring a special edition N64 with a gold controller, bundled with games like GoldenEye, Shadows of the Empire, Quake, and Duke Nukem 64. Individual games, priced around £40, include Yoshi's Story, NBA Pro 98, and FIFA, Road to World Cup 98. Accessories listed are a Game Boy emulator, comms link, and speakers. The page also features a variety of third-party controllers, like Shark pads with autofire, arcade Shark sticks, and various other pads with different features like slow motion, available in multiple colors. This is a retro gaming gear catalog from the late 90s or early 2000s. It features accessories and games for the Nintendo 64, Super NES, Game Boy, and a touch of PlayStation. N64 offerings include steering wheels like the Ultra Racer and Mad Catz, and rumble packs, some with memory card functionality. The Super NES section lists classic games like Donkey Kong Country 2 and Super Mario Kart, plus essential accessories. The Game Boy section showcases a vast selection of games, including Pokémon and Metroid, all at low prices, and a selection of colorful Game Boy units. N64 add-ons included memory cards, cheat devices like Action Replay, and various cables. Miscellaneous items include game guides, link cables, and even a Game Boy emulator for the N64. This page is an article reviewing Wayne Gretzky's 3D hockey, 98 for the N64. Right then, Gretzky's hockey, can't go wrong really, can you? The great one himself. Apparently Midway has got him back to endorse this new one, and it seems like only weeks since the last N64 game graced our cartridge slots, showing how many games were coming out at the time. Bonkers. They say this sequel's got updated stats and team lineups for the 9798 season, so at least they're keeping it current. The review mentions arcade-style graphics, and they're asking if it's any good. They talk about 3 different game modes: Arcade, Season, and Playoffs. Arcade sounds like a quick blast where you beat every team to win, Season's your proper 82-game tournament, and Playoffs is for getting straight to the nail-biting action. Below they even mention a frantic honest style, and tell you to look out for the purple puck streak, showing off one of the game's features. The game info box at the bottom says it's a sports sim, for 14 players, 64 megcart, and needs a memory pack. Developed by Midway. Price from importers as usual, no phone number. And it's out now. So yeah, another hockey game for the N64, seems alright. This review focuses on Wayne Gretzky's 3D Hockey 98, highlighting gameplay mechanics and new features. The guide explains basic moves like hooking, checking, one-timer shots, and turbo boosts. Fighting is also included, with various punch types available. The game offers adjustable settings, including difficulty levels, penalties, and camera angles. New features consist of official player endorsements, updated rosters, and improved AI, particularly for goalies. However, the graphics remain unchanged, and the commentary is still annoying. The review's final verdict is lukewarm, suggesting the game is only worthwhile for those new to N64 hockey or who missed the previous installment. It doesn't offer enough substantial improvements to justify a purchase if you already own the previous year's game. This review previews the N64 snowboarding game, 1080 Degrees Snowboarding, released to coincide with the Nagano Winter Olympics. Positioned as a more realistic simulation than the goofy snowboard kids, the game aims for die-hard fans seeking mountain realism. The preview highlights stylish character artwork and fast-paced screenshots, showcasing snowy slopes. Technical details mention inverse kinematics for realistic character movement. The game features various multiplayer modes, a 64 meg cart size, and battery backup, with a now available, Japan, release date. Importing would be necessary for immediate play. The review concludes that 1080 Degrees Snowboarding appears promising, intriguing readers to experience its gameplay. 1080 Degrees Snowboarding on the N64 offered a variety of game modes. Contest combines racing with trick jumps. 2-player versus allows head-to-head competition. Time Attack focuses on speed. Match Race is a standard race with damage. Trick Attack challenges players to perform tricks in a halfpipe. The article compares 1080 Degrees to other snowboarding games of the time. Cool Borders on PlayStation is criticized for weak graphics and lack of realism. Steep Slope Sliders on Saturn is deemed adequate but inferior. Snowboard Kids is described as a silly, less engaging experience. The author highlights 1080 Degrees' superior depth and quality compared to its contemporaries, solidifying its status as a well-regarded snowboarding game. 1080 degrees snowboarding emphasizes its complex trick system, allowing for 11 grabs and spins up to 1080 degrees using the 3D stick and B button. The game features 5 playable characters, each with unique stats affecting technique, speed, and other attributes. Players can also choose from various boards, each with distinct stats for edge control, acceleration, and stability, adding depth to character and board selection. The preview praises the game's animation and tracks, especially on icy slopes. The reviewer, Tim Street, is highly enthusiastic, calling it superior to Cool Borders, while expressing slight concern over the PAL conversion quality. Overall, the game aims to be the premier snowboarding title on the N64. This advertisement from Gameplay, a large mail-order supplier, showcases N64 consoles and games. The ad highlights the N64's power and promises the lowest prices with free 48-hour delivery and a service guarantee. Bundles included titles like Mario Kart 64, GoldenEye 007, and Diddy Kong Racing, covering various genres. Individual games were also available, spanning racers, shooters, platformers, and sports titles. Accessories such as controllers, memory cards, and rumble packs were offered, along with pre-owned games with quality checks. The ad concludes with an order form requiring a check or postal order, a relic of pre-internet shopping, offering a nostalgic look at how games were purchased. This Nintendo 64 game review roundup rates several titles. Super Mario 64 earns a stunning 95%, while Killer Instinct Gold gets 84%. Mario Kart 64 scores 90%, excelling in multiplayer. Other notable scores include 95% for Turok, Dinosaur Hunter, 86% for Shadows of the Empire, and 91% for Duke Nukem 64. Diddy Kong Racing earns a 94%, and Wave Race 64 scores a 92%. While some games are highly praised, others like Mortal Kombat Trilogy, 56%, FIFA 64, 67%, and Cruisin' USA, 59%, receive negative reviews. The reviews highlight both strengths and weaknesses, offering a glimpse into the N64 gaming landscape of the time, with Princess Peach enjoying the rumble feature in Star Fox 64. This magazine page reviews various Nintendo 64 games. Standout titles include GoldenEye 007, 94%, praised for its missions and multiplayer, and Lylat Wars, 93%, lauded for its space battles. Extreme G, 90%, was fast but hard to control, while Tetrisphere, 86%, was a Tetris twist. Racing games like Lamborghini 64, 76%, and San Francisco Rush, 74%, received harsh criticism. Sports titles like NFL Quarterback Club, 91%, and Madden Football 64, 89%, were well received. Clayfighter 63 and a third received a dismal 25%. Also included are top 5 lists for Game Girls, B, Orchid at number 1, and Mega Monsters, Solar Boss at number 1. This issue teases a focus on Turok 2, dubbed a Double Dino Deal, with an in-depth feature. A Yoshi's Story Player's Guide is a freebie. Tiptastic offers game guides for N64 classics like GoldenEye and Double Dyname WCW vs NWO. Cheat codes are also included. Rated for You previews coverage of World Cup 98, Aero Gauge, Mortal Kombat Mythologies, Mystical Ninja starring Goemon, and Weetrix. On sale April 25th, Played to Death highlights International Superstar Soccer 98, claiming it may be better than FIFA, Quake, Forsaken, and Tonic Trouble. This issue promises the usual N64 content, with a heavy emphasis on Turok 2. This page is an advert for Snowboard Kids on the N64. Blimey, what a blast from the past. Board Crazy and Snowboard Kids are splashed across the page in big colourful letters. It's got that cartoonish vibe, you know, with these slightly odd-looking snowboarders pulling faces. Looks like a bit of a Mario Kart on snow. They are even calling it Mario Kart on ice. They're pushing the 4-player mayhem angle and the rumble pack compatibility, remember those? The price is £39.99 RRP, which was a fair chunk of change back then. It got a decent 88% from N64 magazine, so someone liked it. It's all about gravity junkies doing stunts and using rocket launchers, very 90s. Yeah, Snowboard Kids, not exactly Mario 64 or GoldenEye, but it had its charm if you were after something a bit different and a bit daft. The next page is a full-page advert for WCW vs NWO World Tour on the N64. Remember that one? It's got that classic yellow background screaming, "Look at me!" The headline asks, "Are your friends always picking on you?" Bit dramatic, isn't it? It's pushing the multiplayer aspect, saying up to 4 players head-to-head, so you can sort out your mate arguments virtually. They slapped on some review quotes. "It must be played, even if you're not a fan, it's that good," from Total 64, and the best beat MUP so far from 64 magazine, with scores of 92% and 85% respectively. Always take those magazine scores with a pinch of salt, mind you. The advert's got a bunch of wrestlers glaring out at you. There's Hulk Hogan with his bandana and classic gurn, Sting with the face paint looking all moody, and then another long-haired fella, probably one of the NWO lads. There are a couple of tiny screenshots showing some blocky polygonal wrestlers doing their thing in the ring. It's all very late 90s, isn't it? Published by THQ. And of course it's for the Nintendo 64. WCW vs NWO World Tour. It was alright for a wrestling game back in the day, if you were into that sort of thing.